Hello, my name is Brenda, and I am one of the content and curriculum managers for Kaplan Nursing. Today, we are going to review how to answer the dynamic test questions called the matrix multiple choice and the matrix multiple response. During this video, we will look at examples of the two types of matrix grid format questions. I will include some tips on how to successfully answer these questions as you move through an NGN question type. I will also set examples of how each of these matrix grid items are scored. In all NGN question types, you will see a display of tabs, which contains information from which you will make decisions and choose options. This is an example of a client's medical record with 4 tabs consisting of the health history, the nurse's notes, vital signs, and laboratory results. During the exam, as tabs are assigned, you will be able to toggle back and forth between the tabs to answer each question within the set. Today, just for demonstration purposes, the nurse's note is the second tab of this medical record for this case scenario. Tip number 1, the format and structure of matrix question types have some unique benefits. This item type is easy and intuitive for you to follow. How a question is asked and possible choices can be created in many different ways. Today, we are going to look at a few examples of how a matrix grid question might look like. So let's begin with a review of the matrix multiple choice 2 and 3 column question type. The matrix multiple choice grid options are presented in a table format, and each row has one correct answer. The rows present the questions for you to answer, and the columns offer a set of predefined answer choices that apply to each question in the row. On this slide, you are viewing a 2-column matrix multiple choice option. You will read the corresponding tab or tabs, and based on the information provided throughout the case study, determine if the education the nurse provided to the client has improved their understanding of the home maintenance topics, or if the client needs further teaching. In both the 2 and 3 column matrix multiple choice items, there is one answer choice per row. So let's take a look at a couple of lines. In reading the assessment finding, I take 2 additional carbidopa-levodopa on days that I walk outside. You would answer this as either the client understands or they need further teaching. In this example, the client would not take additional carbidopa-levodopa. So your choice would be the client needs further teaching. I only use my cane outdoors. Again, the client would need further teaching because this client would use their cane both indoors and outdoors. You would do the same for the last 2 items. Tip number 2, you will not be able to continue to the next question until responding to all rows. Again, this is just for demonstration purposes. Let's discuss how this item is actually scored. For the matrix multiple choice, both 2 or 3 column, each row is scored independently with the 0-1 scoring model. That means each row has one right answer worth 1 point. Should you select an incorrect choice, you will earn 0 points. The scores for the rows are summed together to get a total score for this item. In this example, the total score for the item is 4 points. As you can see, one wrong item was selected, giving a final score of 3. This is a view of a 3-column matrix multiple choice item where you would choose one option per row, same as the 2 column. In this example, you will be asked to identify if the assessment findings have improved, there has been no change, or if the client's condition has declined. So let's take a look at a couple line items here. If the client's pulse from the case scenario was 98 and now the apical pulse is 110, that would be a decline in the assessment finding. If the client continues to have rigidity in the extremities, there's no really change from the findings. So your option would be no change. Tip number 3, for both the 2-column and 3-column matrix multiple choice item type, each row should be treated as its own multiple choice question. Now let's discuss how this item is actually scored. Again, the matrix multiple choice, both 2 or 3 columns are scored in the same manner. Each row is scored independently with the 0-1 scoring model. This means that each row has one right answer worth 1 point. Should you select an incorrect choice, you will earn 0 points. The scores for the rows are summed together to get a total score for the item. In this example, the total score for the item is 4 points. As you can see, 2 wrong items were selected, giving a final score of 2. Now we're going to review the matrix multiple response item. The second type of matrix grid item type is the multiple response grid. With this item type, you will address several aspects of a client situation. The matrix multiple response question type allows each column in the table to be an independent answer. You will answer at least one option in the row, but all column options in that row could be correct, similar to a select all that apply. In this example, you will choose which disease process is consistent based on the findings provided in the first column. So let's take a look at a few rows. Fever. You would select if a fever is a common symptom in DKA, UTI, or HHS. You would select one or more options that correspond with the symptom of fever. Let's look at confusion. You will need to determine if confusion is a symptom that can be met across 1, 2, or all 3 of diagnoses provided. As you determine your choices, you will conclude which disease process the client is experiencing by noting which diagnoses has the most correlated symptoms selected. Tip number 4, in the matrix multiple response item type, there will be response columns, and each response column could have multiple correct responses. Tip number 5, you may select more than one option in each row. Tip number 6, in the matrix multiple response grid, each column must have at least one response option selected. In the matrix multiple response, this is scored differently than the matrix multiple choice. The matrix multiple response is scored using the plus-minus scoring model that is applied to each column. 1 point is earned for identifying and selecting the correct option or options. In contrast, 1 point is subtracted when selecting an incorrect response. The total score for the matrix multiple response item is the sum of all positive and negative points. Negative total scores are recorded as a 0. So let's take a look at this example. We have 3 columns with 1 answer choice box. This means we have a total of 3 possible points per row. In the first answer column, you chose all 4 correct answers for a total of 4 points. In the second column, you chose 3 correct answers and 1 incorrect answer. That would be a score of 2. In the third column, you have selected 3 correct choices for a total of 3 points, ending with an overall correct answer of 9 points. Finally, tip number 7. In the matrix multiple response grid, you do not get penalized for not selecting a correct answer. You only get penalized for incorrect answers you have chosen. This concludes my overview of how to answer and how scoring is processed on the matrix grid question types. I hope you found this presentation to be helpful. Please feel free to contact me at my Kaplan email with any questions. Thank you.